Hello, this is Dora. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to share a stitching challenge that I just completed. And this challenge is called Stitch in Time. And the event is run by Suzanne Hutchison and Sarah Czar and two other members. And the group for this is Junk Journaling for Everyone. And this is also inspired by Slow Stitching Challenge set by Roxy Creations. And my soft fabric journal with decorative stitching. Has been very interesting, and I've learned a lot, and yeah, I totally enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next challenge. And and this I joined a little bit late, so but I managed to get 7 pages out of this, so I'm happy with that. And so what else did I want to share with you before I get started here? I'm gonna do my best in describing of what I've used and all of the other stitching that I've done. And so I hope I don't sound like I'm all over the place or anything like that. But anyway, just kind of goes along with the scrapbooking that I create as well. So a lot of the stuff that I've used, fabric scraps and cotton fabric and wool, lace and trim. Stamps. Oh, one thing I didn't use is stamps. Button, beads, charm, sequins, and many other things that I have used that have collected over time. So silk and this embroidery type of fabric as well. And today my throat is really bothering me, so it's just a little bit worse than normal. So I'll try and not cough so much in what I'm doing here. Excuse me. So anyway, to get started here, my first page is Marie Antoinette. I have read and saw some few movies on her, and very interesting character. So to start, she I think my second that I made, not my first, but my second. So anyway, with her hair and her wig, she was really into that back in the day. Her jewelry as well, and her fancy dresses and all that. So hopefully I depicted what I've read about her. And then just to explain her hair and how I created the curls here is I've used a floss and I wet it just a little bit, not damp, but just very little. And then I wrapped it around like that, and then used a curling iron, the very skinny one that I have, and then I just put my curling iron on it, so for a little bit, and then when you let it go, it stays like that, unless if you pull it apart like that, then it'll go back. But I didn't do that. So anyway, that's a new technique that I've learned, so pretty happy about that. So I went ahead and did all of gave her some curls there. And to give a little bit of depth in her wig here, I went ahead and sewn a lot of the floss thread forehead first and kept it long, and then I kind of worked it in backwards into making it a little bit of 3D-ish, I guess you could say, to make it a little bit the height, to give the height as well. And then fancy yarn right here, and then added an applique that I also cut out from my other piece of work. And there's beads right here, you can see that. And I also added flower appliques here, and then just also added different fabric, and then went kind of crazy stitching in the background. And then her jewelry and her pearl and emerald stone there, as well as her ring, a ring there, and then her bracelet, and then another applique there. I added all of that just to be able to just add the things that I guess she really enjoyed back in the day. And then her neckline, I also added a fancy stitching, also as well as here I couched those down. I've used a lot of fancy ribbon or thread. I'm not really quite sure what they're called, but they come in a bag like this, and you get just variety of beautiful ribbons. And I'll go ahead and I'll try to remember to write all that information down below of where I purchased some of these. So anyway, and the lace at the top, I added that afterwards, after I was done with the whole thing. And then I hand stitch and then machine stitch as well. And I was literally running out of time. So I was like, I gotta hurry up here. So I did a lot of the edging with my sewing machine. And so anyway, I'm very satisfied with what I did here. And the as you can see, the spine, I've used the hinge spine. And I probably won't do this again because it's very, very hard. And, you know, fabric wise, it's very hard as far as stitching goes. If I had more time, yeah, but in this case, probably not. So, so anyway, that is my first page, and my second page is also kind of like continuing her love of tea and drinking chocolate. I always wonder what they meant by that, drinking chocolate. I wonder if they meant hot chocolate or literally drinking chocolate. So that's an interesting information that I found. So anyway, I went ahead and it says enjoy this moment here, and then the fabric here is upholstery fabric that I cut out, and the thread, the shiny metallic thread here that I add here and there in different places to just add the shine to it is this thread here. I'm not quite sure what it's called, and so anyway, it was on sale at Hobby Lobby, so went ahead and grabbed it. And the cake, I really liked how that came out, and this fluffy little thing that I added on top. Again, it's this fancy yarn that I used here. So and then along with the plate and the napkin, fork, spoon, and the cup, I also used, this was the regular fabric, but these are upholstery fabric that I used. And I went ahead and used watercolor just a little bit, just to add a little shadow to it. And then the border and the edge of it, I add that after I was done. Excuse me, as I don't know if I mentioned, but my throat is bothering me as a little bit more than normal, so I've been drinking some honey, tea, and all kinds of stuff to help it get take care of it. So anyway, my next page is I posted this what I started within the 2 weeks of the challenge, and then it was a little bit more easier to do this as a kind of like an applique. You iron some fabric on a sticky piece of iron-on, I think it's called, and then you just iron these on where you don't have to base it. You go ahead and sorry. Whew, let me start again. So I went ahead and cut out all the pieces that I need, and then I ironed it to somewhat base it, and then I sewed it with my sewing machine just to try different things, and because I really wasn't sure what I was doing from the beginning. So anyway, I was doing things as I was learning as well, because I'm not really a stitcher. Yeah, I use a sewing machine, that's about it, like just regular stitching, but this kind of work, I'm learning different things. So pretty happy of how this turned out as well. And just different layers of pattern of fabric that I've used, and down here, same thing. The yarn that I've used in different color, I've used a machine just to give that effect as well. I'm really not sure where I was going with that, but it looks good. So, and then I couch some of it down, and then the lace, the ends of it, I add that later. So I went ahead and hand stitch and then machine stitch on this side. And so my next page is a snow globe. I hope it's not too sparkly. And yeah, so I added a lot of beads, sequins, and I just went ahead and did an outline of a piano, and then I added few. This fabric had a little bit of a sparkle to it, so I'm not sure if it's glitter, but it came like that, so I went ahead and added. And then the glitter itself, I mixed tacky glue and the glitter together, and then I painted over, and it's staying on really well. And of course, if you rub it really hard, I guess it can come off. So I hope it's not too sparkly for you all. But this is music notes that I put down, and then I went or sewed it on with a black thread, and then I went ahead and added metallic over it just to give it that flow of this silver color. And I don't know if you can see the what do you call it? The beads that I added as well, and these tiny beads around it too, and then a lot of I'm not sure what you call these ribbons. They're it's kind of like this and I don't know what you call it. So I went ahead and add that, and there's more beadwork down here as well as here, and I added a few down here, and of course the trim I added later, and then I hand stitched and then machine stitch on this side. And my next page is, I call this my sleepy owl. I posted this also, and kind of like an applique as I started, and I was learning many different things as I was going, as I mentioned, and the stitching as well. And I just added stitches after I ironed it on, and it's so easy to do this kind of work rather than something that you have to not iron on and you have to figure out where things go, and sometimes it doesn't work and you have to start all over. So anyway, basically the stitching that I've done is just following the pattern and just adding different fabric colors and the shapes and all that. And then this background fabric also, I got it from, I can't remember where I got it, but it really went with it because it has stars and moons on it. So, and then of course the trimming added later, and then machine stitch on each side. And I don't know if I mentioned again here that I was running out of time, so I kind of geared to my machine in order to kind of like my last resort, because if I'm running out of time, I have to catch up and get this thing done and get it posted and so on. So machine helped me there. And this page here, these came in one, but I cut them up in different pieces, and I added beads around it just to make it even more interesting. And the background kind of reminded me of snow swirling all over the place. And pine tree is what I pictured when I first saw this. Where I live, there's a lot of pine trees, and when it snows, it's just beautiful when it snows. But these little embroidery pieces, I'm not sure what they're called, but it came artesian blanket type of throw, I think. I'm not sure what it's called, but they come in different sizes like this. And the blanket was pretty beat up. It wasn't like a blanket that you use for sleeping, kind of like a throw that for if you want to put it over your couch and things like that. So it was pretty beat up. So I took it apart and went ahead and saved a lot of these to use in a project like this. And then the wording that I also stitched around it, it says, "Who then is free? The wise man who can govern himself." I thought that was pretty cool. Excellent then is not an act but a habit. I got these from Mrs. Coggs a couple years ago, and it's printed on fabric. So, and the ends of it, lost my train of thought again. They were added, these green ribbon, they were added later. Again, machine stitching. And then this I posted as well. And I'm not quite sure what I was doing here. And this is also kind of like my third one that I was doing from the beginning. And to starfish here. And basically, I wanted to stay away from image and not be so realistic. So I wanted to just put down all the different types of fabric textures and all that, just to see what I would come up with. Fancy stitching here and some beadwork right there, and there's some more beadwork here. So I did that as I was going, and again, I wasn't sure what will become of it, this whole thing. And finally, when I was about to be done, that's when I realized, oh, look, it looks like a shore, type of thingy. So, excuse me. And then this fluffy looking, I'm not sure what it's called, I added at the end. It reminded me of Sparkle of the Water. So that is how I did that. And then again, I use machine stitching, and I try to stay away from my machine stitching. It has a little bit of designs that I can do, but I wanted to learn to do this on my own, just hand stitching and all that. I've seen so much beautiful work out there, and I'm not trying to achieve like what they do, but I want to just learn to continue this type of work. I don't know if that makes sense, but my next page is also Under the Sea, and this fabric came as a yellow and green, so I thought I'd put that down and make it into a fish shape. And then I went ahead and used a floss thread and added more, what do you call it? I don't know what I'm saying now. Designs. So, and then you have your jellyfish, and then this little creature here, and then another fish, and then I added more fancy stitching here, and I think this is called balling. I could be wrong, but they kind of remind me of little worms. So I did some of that technique, and of course decorative buttons. And then this is supposed to be, okay, let me go back, seahorse. So these are supposed to be bubbles, and coming from the jellyfish, and again, they're huge buttons that I have. So, and then machine stitching and on each side, and as you can see, it was giving up on me trying to do all these thick layers, and maybe I was using a different type of needle, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, while I was stitching right here, I totally forgot about this button, and I had it on the other side, so my machine started acting crazy, so I was like, oh no, so I had to take it off and just do my own hand stitching there. So then my next page here, again, this is kind of like an applique type of situation, and kind of reminds me of our little house here. And when it snows, and rabbit, raccoon, and a deer pattern. I got this from Vintage Studio. I have to write that down because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So that's where they all came from. And then I added again metallic threading on the roof right here, circle there, as well as in between snow right there. So, and my metallic thread I'm talking about is this and this, this, and a few other colors that I found. And of course, again, Hobby Lobby's on sale, Black Friday type of shopping here. So, and then hand stitch all the way around like that, and added these fancy stitching again on the edge at the end. And here I am with my bun and stitching away here. My sewing machine, I actually have brother's sewing machine, but I do like the antiques, like Singer, so I added that. And then this sweater, it's another technique that I learned. I'm not sure what it's called. Again, I have to look it up, and the video that I saw, I'll go ahead and add that to the bottom. And then my wool socks, that keeps me warm. And so here we go. So what I did here was I went ahead and stitched long straight stitch first, right, in different section, and then I went ahead and kind of like weaved it in such a way. So I did all of these in section, all of that. So and the same thing for the socks. It's kind of challenging though for the socks because, you know, these little curves like that, you kind of have to think about it ahead of time and so on. So then I added all kinds of patchwork in the background. I did the patchwork first, and then I did the outline of myself, and then I went ahead and filled in with all kinds of different technique of threading, and also here and here, as well as here, and hand stitch in the edge of it here, and as well as here, and added the trim later. And we come on this page. This is a little bit interesting because I wanted to try something different, as I'm always doing. So I went ahead and cut out a heart out of these pieces and replaced it with a wool heart here. Some of what gave me the thickness to be able to accomplish this. And then a hand stitch, blanket stitch around it. And here's a little peek hole there, and a button as well, and metallic threading that I did all the way around. And just how I was feeling that day, just to have the love for ourselves, for our family, for our neighbors, everyone around us. So all you need is love is basically my page here that I did, and on the other side. So how I did this is I did this page separately, and then I put it together. So that way when you're sewing all of this, it doesn't show on this side. Because if it did, then I would think that it wouldn't be as interesting. I don't know, could be a mess, or I don't know exactly how that would have turned out. But I wanted to keep in this technique to go easy on myself, because I can become very hard on myself too if I didn't do anything, or it's something that I was trying to accomplish and I didn't do it. But anyway, for the most part, I learned to do it that way, and I'm happy about it. And I have very tiny beads right here, and button right there, and then just couch some of these fancy stitching down. So, and this is wool again, and this is wool, and of course these hinges are all wool as well, if I have not mentioned that. So anyway, this is that. Next page here is me walking my dog on a winter day, and this piece of thread yarn, I'm not sure what you call it, is these thingies that I had for a while. Can't remember where I got them from, and I like what it does, just the shape of it, and you can use it as snow or cloud and things like that. So I save every little piece that I have knowing that I'm going to use it later. Hand stitch around it, and again metallic thread all the way around here and there, and this blue fabric that has some sparkles on, and I don't know exactly, and I'm not sure exactly what it's called, these thingies here, and some of them here. Then again, I use a little bit of watercolor here just to give it shadow and depth. And pine trees and pine cones, and then I just added a ribbon up there. And my last page is, here I am, resting. All you need is sleep. So this is something that, again, my hair is kind of wild here. So anyway, the felt I use on the dog, my dog, and then my face and my foot here. And then this patchwork here comes from an old vintage quilt that I got a while back, and like I said, I salvaged a lot of them to use. So really like the background of the fabric that I use as well. So this is it. And I really enjoyed. Again, thank you to the ladies over at Junk Journaling for Everyone, Susan, Sarah, and all the other ones that put this together. Again, I'm looking forward toward the next challenge, and I really enjoyed myself. And I don't know if I'm going to make some of my own as well, and just keep going and keep learning. So just want to say thank you again for coming and visiting, and I hope I was able to explain everything. And if not, I do apologize, because I confuse myself as well, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, like I said, I'm learning as I'm going. So please take care of yourself and each other, and thank you for coming and visiting my channel. Bye.